Hi guys, it's your girl Joy and welcome to the Diplomat Center. Today, as I promised, I'll be summarizing the book Americanah written by Chimamanda Ngozi Adiche. This book is very interesting, although it has been really long since I read this, but I think I can still remember some things about it. So, this book is practically talking about two teenagers in love, Ifemelu and Obinze, who later grew up in Nigeria, but they had to separate. Okay. Ifemelu and Obenze, they attended the same secondary school and they met themselves. Obenze had a friend named Kayode, and Ifemelu had a friend named Ginika. So Kayode was this rich boy having rich and wealthy parents from Ikoyi. So Kayode invited all of them, all his classmates, to a party he was having at his place. So he Kayode came with Obinze and Ifemelu came with Ginika. The plan was actually to make Obinze and Ginika fall in love because Ginika was this popular girl in school and everybody wanted to date her, but she wasn't interested in the boys she met. But this was the first time she was interested in Obinze, and Kayode and Ifemelu wanted things to work out. So when Ifemelu and Ginika were waiting for the boys at the party, they came and Ginika was so shy to speak, but Ifemelu like encouraged her, told her that nothing's going to happen. So when Obinze came, Ifemelu was surprised to see Obinze wearing this thick jacket. So Kayode started talking. The plan was actually to make Kayode will just say a few words, and then Kayode will leave, and then Ifemelu will also leave, and then the gods of the land will do their job by making Opinze and Genika to fall in love. But unfortunately, that didn't work out. Obenze just said little, and so Kayode had to continue in the conversation to make the place not find, to make the place not to be weird. So at some point, if Emily found out that she wasn't even listening to what was even happening around her, she wasn't listening to the music, she wasn't listening to what Kayode had to say. So she joined also in the conversation, and then she found out that Obenze was actually stealing glances from her, always looking at her every now and then. At some point, the music stopped unknowingly, so Coyote had to leave to check what was wrong. So it was just remaining Ifemelu, Gineka, and Obente. Gineka didn't have anything to say because she was so shy. And then Ifemelu just said to Obente that isn't the jacket too, are you not hot in the jacket? So from there they started talking, and then Obinze took her to the dance floor. They danced, and at some point Ifemelu saw that Ginika was always looking at them, like she was surprised that the boy actually like Ifemelu took him away from me, and all sorts. After that, they went outside and they were starting to know each other, get to know where where they were from and all sorts. After that, they spent more hours in school, always talking to each other. Then Obinze told Ifemelu how he loved her. Then they started dating. So Ifemelu actually met Obinze's parent because Obinze's father died, and Obinze's mother had this rumor story of being an aggressive woman who fought with a man, which that was not actually what happened. So Ifemelu was really happy to see Obinze's mom, and Obinze's mom was also really happy to see Obinze's girlfriend. Fast forward, they later attended the same university, where at some point, um, Ifemelu lived in the hostel while Obinze had an apartment of his own. So every time at night, Ifemelu would go to Obinze's place and they will sleep, talk together, sleep together, and all sorts. Then, due to some reasons, there was always strike in the Nigerian university. But most of Ifemelu's friends, like the likes of Ginika and those that were super, super rich, before then, they attended their university abroad. And Obinze always wanted to, you know, um, live in America, always wanted to stay in America, know things about America. But Ifemelu found out that, yeah, America is not her thing and she wanted to stay in Nigeria. But at some point, because her auntie Uju was there, and then the strikes and all, for instead of her to finish school years back, she was still lagging behind. So at some point, she thought of going to America to stay with her auntie and finish her school, stay for some time, and then raise money for her parents, come back, and that would be the end. And then opens and how they will get married later. But that didn't work out. Although she didn't want to go to America, but Obinze encouraged her, told her that he will always call her, send emails. Then Ifemolu prepared her papers and then she left to America. Every now and then they were always talking, um, asking how things were going out with each other. Ifemelu always talked with her parents. Ifemelu always talked to Obinze's mom, always talked to Obinze. Until Joe, on the other hand, actually left Nigeria due to some reasons because she was dating a military guy who died, and then the family of the military man was always disturbing Auntie Uju, so she had to leave. And before that happened, Auntie Uju gave birth to um, a boy named DK. So she had to live with that 1 year old boy, and then they were suffering so much in America. After that, the family also had to, manage with them. She just had to manage with them. Then she moved into a small house where she lived with three other American girls, but she was always distant because she felt out of place. At some point, she was always the one behind trying to, sort out her school fees. She couldn't pay her school fees in America. She couldn't find a job in America so she can be able to pay her house bills, her food, and everything. So she was always struggling in America, even though the little money she got from America, she had to send it to her parents so they wouldn't think that she's living in America, because they had this mentality of, you're living in America, so you should be able to work well, you should have more money than you used to have when you were in Nigeria. But she and Obinze still kept in touch. Moving on, she found so many jobs, but she was always turned down. She never got the job. She went for interviews, but she never got the job. At some point, she got this job as just massaging a coach's back. That was just a job, just to massage the coach's back, and she'll get a huge amount of money. So she found out that this massaging stuff was going to another level. She had no choice but to agree. Then um this guy, this American coach, told her that if you want me to increase your pay, you have to sleep with me. And because of she was suffering, she had to send money to her parents. She still had her house bills to pay, which was 2 months late. She still had her chores, her school fees to pay. So she reluctantly agreed. So that pain and that guilt welled up inside her, and she couldn't tell Obinde about it. She was so scared that Obinde might they might break up from their relationship. So she kept it to herself. She later became depressed because it was actually Ginika, her friend in secondary school, that gave her that house, that always encouraged her. So it was Ginika that was like her best friend in America. So she didn't even tell Ginika about it. She didn't contact her parents. She became distant from Obinze. Obinze was always calling her, but she never picked his calls because of that guilt. Obinze will send her lots of emails. She won't reply any of them. Obinze mom will call. She won't reply because of that guilt that she has betrayed. She had because of that guilt she had that she has betrayed Obinze. Her parents would call, but she couldn't talk to anybody. Even the American girls, she didn't talk to anyone. She just locked herself in her room now and then. Even when Ginika came, Ginika will have to knock and knock and knock, but she won't reply. Then months back, she finally came out of her shell, but she still had that guilt welled up inside her. And then at some point it was in and that her American one of our American roommates knocked on her door one time and told her that Ginika wanted to speak to her. So when she collected the phone, she talked to Ginika for a little while. Ginika came over and asked her what's wrong, but she couldn't tell Ginika what was actually wrong with her. She just told her she wasn't feeling well. Ginika noticed that she was depressed and told her to see psychologist or a therapist. But Ifemelo was like, Nigerians can't get depressed. Nigerians don't need stuff. It's only American people that can actually get depressed. So after that, she and Obinte became distant, very, very distant. That close bond wasn't there anymore. Obinte also, on the other hand, was suffering. He couldn't raise money at home in Nigeria. He tried going to America, but he couldn't get a visa to America. He couldn't get his passport. So he tried going to the US. So he went to the UK. He went to United Kingdom illegally, and then the only way he could stay there was to marry a an English girl. So he found some dubious means to get married to one, although that English girl also was just trying to, because she didn't want to be deported back to her country, to the country she actually came from. After that, um, something happened, and then Obinze was so many things happened, like he used forged some people's names to get jobs. He used some other people's identity to get jobs, and then people found out about it, and he was later deported from UK back to Nigeria. So that was how he started up again from level zero until he made it to the top in Nigeria. Ifemelo, on the other hand, spent about 15 years in America trying to get herself. She found a good job. During that 15 years, she dated a lot of guys, even though she wasn't really happy with them because she always felt out of place when she um when she went to parties with them. She went she dated a guy named Kurt. She dated a lot of guys, and she found out that she still had that love for Obinte, but she didn't just want to have anything to do with him. She didn't want to remember what happened. She grew up to become a beautiful young woman, and then after spending 15 years and then dating so many guys that it didn't work out for her, she thought about coming back to Nigeria to start becoming a journalist or a blogger. Although when she was in America, she had this blog on her own where she posted lifestyle, things about life, how America is working for her, and she made millions of money. But since she was come back to Nigeria, she thought it can't actually work. So um she sold out her blog to another person, got money, raised money, and then she came back to Nigeria. Auntie Uju's son, on the other hand, DK, grew up to be a handsome young boy, although he was also having racial issues because whenever he goes to school in America, he lived in America with his mom. So whenever he goes to school in America, he always felt out of place because he was a black He was black. He always tried to become that American African person, not that African American person, but he still felt out of place. At some point, he got depressed, took some pills, and committed suicide. But thank God, fortunately, his mom was able to rush him to the hospital, and then they were able to revive him back. So all those things mixed up with what Ifemelu was going through really pained her, and so she didn't talk to anybody about it. When she came back to Nigeria, everybody was really happy to see her. She later heard that Obinze's mom died out of heart attack, I think. So she got a job in a publishing company, in a magazine company actually. She got a job in a magazine company where she had to, so with that her blog ideas, she with that blogger lifestyle, that blogger's creativity, she makes sure that that magazine company actually became the first in Nigeria. So after that, because she shipped most of her things to Nigeria, she went to the bank at some point, but she also told she just messaged Obinze, although it's been a long time, like 15 years. She messaged, she emailed Obinze telling him that he's back. Actually, the nickname she gave Obinze was Ceiling because at some point in university they slept with each other, and she teasingly said when they slept with each other she saw ceilings. So that was the reason why she always called him Ceiling. So after that, she emailed him, and Obinze was really happy. But after that 15 years, Obinze was already married to a lady named Kosi, um, who was really, really, really beautiful, as mentioned in the story. And then they had a child named Buchi, who was about 3 years old. Sorry, yeah, 2 years old. Sorry, who was about 2 years old. So Ifemelu found out about it, but she just kept it to herself. She was still talking with her friend. She met her one of her old school friends, Rayu Nudo, who was also an Igbo lady who was a tomboy in school, but now she became a this hot girl in town in Lagos. After that, she went to the bank one time to retrieve all her money, and then she thought she saw Obinze, but she didn't. She didn't actually see Obinze. So she messaged Obinze, and Obinze told her if asked her if they could meet out, and she agreed. So she got to a book store where she was waiting for Obinze, and after that they started talking. But Obinze always brought up this um conversation of why did you why did we become distant? But she always shielded the topic, brought up another topic because she didn't want to talk about what really happened between her and that American coach. After that, Obinze, they started having feelings for each other. They spent more time with each other every time. At some point, Obinze traveled to Abuja and wanted to take her along, but she didn't want to go because she felt she was becoming um a side chick to Obinze, and she didn't want that actually. At some point, she told Obinze she wasn't interested again because Obinze was cheating on his wife. But Obinze found out that immediately after he got married to his wife, he didn't have that peace he had with Ifemelu. So at some point, he told Kosi that they can't work again. They have to get a divorce. But Kosi wasn't ready because of their only child, Buchi. After some time, Obinze couldn't take it any longer. He told Kosi he was going to leave. He packed all his things and left the house. He told her he was still going to take care of Bucci, but he couldn't just stand cheating on his wife when from day one he actually loved Femelu with all his heart. So if Femelu cut off ties with Obinze because she found out that she was like becoming a side chick to Obinze. After that one time, Obinze came to her house and then and they started talking and then Obinze told her what he actually did by telling her that he got a divorce, he divorced his wife, and he was ready to spend the rest of with her. And so, as fairy tale said, they lived happily ever after. That's the end of the summary of Americana. Bye, guys.